Welcome to NoCast by CMUBS, Chiang Mai University Business School, your trusted space for insightful conversations that connect academic research with real-world impact. Here, we bring knowledge to life, exploring ideas, innovations, and inspirations from scholars, students, and professionals across Thailand and beyond. Each episode dives into thought-provoking topics in business, management, and social studies, turning complex research into stories you can relate to and learn from. Whether you're a student, a researcher, or simply someone who loves to learn, NoCast by CMUBS invites you to listen, think, and grow with us. Let's discover new perspectives together, because knowledge is more than information. It's the power to inspire change. You're now listening to NoCast by CMUBS, Chiang Mai University Business School.
You know, when we think of a financial crisis, we usually picture everything just stopping, especially creativity and innovation. But what if that's not the whole story? A really fascinating new study shows that the 2008 crisis didn't actually kill innovation in Japan. It transformed it. And today, we're going to break down exactly how that happened. So, just think about it for a second. What happens when one of the biggest economic meltdowns in history crashes right into one of the most innovative countries on the planet? The obvious answer seems like total disaster, right? But as we're about to find out, what really happened is way more interesting. All right, first up, let's look at the story everyone thought was true, the one that on the surface seemed to make perfect sense, the story of a great innovation crash. And yeah, just look at this chart. It pretty much tells the story, or so it seems. For years, patent applications in Japan were climbing steadily. Then, boom, 2008 hits. And the numbers don't just dip, they absolutely fall off a cliff. It looks like a classic open and shut case of innovation just grinding to a halt. A drop that big has to lead to a simple conclusion, doesn't it? Companies had less money, the future was uncertain, so they just stopped innovating. They stopped filing for patents because they weren't having new ideas. Case closed. Or maybe not. Because here's where the plot thickens. When researchers started digging a little deeper, they found a clue. Something that just didn't fit. A real head-scratcher that hinted at a completely different story playing out behind the scenes. And this right here is the heart of the whole puzzle. While the number of patents being filed was tanking, spending on research and development wasn't. Companies were still pouring money into creating new things. So, the billion-dollar question is, why would you keep spending all that cash on R&D if you weren't patenting the results? What gives? So, solving this mystery is exactly what a team of researchers set out to do. They knew they had to get their hands dirty and really dig into the data to figure out what was truly going on inside these Japanese companies. And when I say they went deep, I mean deep. We're talking about a massive investigation covering 767 firms over almost 3 decades of data. The big goal was to untangle the real relationship between filing for patents and how well a company was actually doing. And to do that, they needed a very special tool. That tool is called Heckman 2SLS. Now, I know the name sounds super technical, but stick with me. All it really does is solve that classic chicken and egg problem, Does filing a patent actually cause a company to be successful? Or is it just that successful companies have the money to file a bunch of patents? This method lets you separate those two things and find the real impact. And what they found using this powerful tool, it completely flips the original story on its head. It wasn't about a collapse in innovation at all. It was about a huge shift in strategy. All right, so after all that digging, what did the data actually say? What was the real measurable link between a company filing for a patent and its actual bottom line performance? Okay, so check this out. Before the crisis, the link between patents and performance was 0.497. Now, the key detail here isn't the number itself, but what it means. It's what's called statistically insignificant. In plain English, that means that back then, just filing more patents didn't have a clear, predictable positive effect on how well a company did. It was kind of like buying a bunch of lottery tickets. Sure, you had more, but it didn't really guarantee you'd win. But then, look what happens after the crisis. The number just explodes to 2.139. That's not just a little bump. We're talking more than 4 times larger. And it's what scientists call strongly positive and significant. The takeaway here is absolutely stunning. After 2008, the patents that were being filed had a much, much stronger and more predictable positive impact on a company's success. Each patent wasn't just another piece of paper anymore. It was a high-value asset. And this gets us right to the core finding of the whole study. I'm just going to quote the researchers here because they put it perfectly. The crisis acted like a giant filter. With cash being so tight and the future so murky, companies couldn't afford to just patent every little idea. They were forced to focus their energy and their money only on the absolute best, most valuable, game-changing innovations, quality over quantity. So you see, this isn't a story about failure, not at all. It's a powerful story about adaptation, about resilience. And honestly, there's a huge lesson in here for anybody interested in strategy, whether that's in business or even in your own life. There's actually a business concept that explains this whole thing perfectly. It's called Resource Dependency Theory. It's a fancy way of saying something we all kind of know intuitively. When times get tough and resources are scarce, you get really smart about how you use them. The crisis basically forced these Japanese companies to do just that. They had to protect their most vital resource, cash, and focus only on the crown jewels, those innovations that would really drive future growth. It made their R&D spending incredibly efficient. So that dramatic drop in patent applications we saw at the beginning, it wasn't a sign that innovation had died. It was a sign that innovation had gotten more focused, more potent, and way more connected to creating real-world value. In a very strange way, the crisis actually made Japanese innovation better. And this whole thing leaves us with a really big question to chew on. In a world that's always changing, where another crisis is probably just around the corner, what's going to matter more? The sheer number of ideas you have, or the undeniable quality of just one? It seems like Japan, forged in the fire of 2008, already found its answer.
Thank you for listening to NoCast by CMUBS, Chiang Mai University Business School. We hope today's episode inspired you to see knowledge in a new light, as something you can use, share, and grow with. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our channel for more conversations that bridge ideas, innovation, and impact. You can also connect with us on social media to stay updated on upcoming episodes and research insights from CMUBS. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep discovering, because every idea has the power to make a difference. This is NoCast by CMUBS, signing off with knowledge that inspires change.